Previously on They Caught Me.
So you're telling me that Dametri Dale was telling you to come down there, that Yuri didn't know you were coming?
Yeah, Yuri, he wasn't supposed to know I was coming.
He put together a robbery to rob the youth pastor at our church a few years back. He's done so much little stuff, and it's like I'm always there to help him, to pull him out of the hole he digs himself in, and then now he freaking tries to drag me in this shit to lose my fucking kids.
We knew Dametri didn't shoot. Dametri was on the patio when the gunman.
Bro, look, he wrote this down. He wrote it down. I have the papers in my room. The shit, it sounds like a script.
Where is this paper?
It's in my room. If you go in my room, you go under it. It says game plan. Feel me? On the paper.
Don't you have any regret of having done this?
Man, I have regret of making him my fucking friend.
You're standing somewhere by this car when Yuri and Dametri are supposedly arguing.
They arguing, you feel me, about a situation that, like, you feel me, you wanted Dametri to do something. Dametri ain't going with it, you feel me? Like, you want Dametri to go do something, I guess it was something bad.
3 men and a dead mother of 3. The Palm Beach Sheriff's Office has 2 of the culprits on the ropes, thanks to their mutual friend, Dametri Dale. There is only one question left. Just how involved was Demetrius in the plot? And
I'm the only one that's gonna probably get away with this.
Okay, cool. Get some things I'll probably show you. Ask for some clarification.
If I got
It's nothing to target you, but it is. I've been straight with you. There's some things that. What was your question? I'm sorry.
And I got screenshots if you want conversation between me and Shay and Gigi.
Oh,
just in case
definitely. So, as standard, let me fill this out. We have to complete these real quick. Dametri.
You just started it or something?
No, we usually do it outside, but now someone's just left in here, so I'm just going to do it. It makes us remember. It's just logging who we're interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, today is this 11th, 10th. Let's see here. 1636. All right, so before we begin, let me swear you in. Swear from everything and tell me the truth, the best of your knowledge, nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
And you came of your own free will, but
Yep.
because this is an ongoing criminal investigation, I'm going to do my standard read you Miranda warnings like I've done pretty much the last few times.
Yeah.
Let me take care of that. I'm just going to find the card. So, you got a new car now, right?
Yeah, not the best car. I got a couple 130,000 miles on it.
Does it get you to where you need to?
Yeah, it got me to North Carolina and Georgia, so.
Wow, that's a lot of miles. I bet you were nervous.
I was. Well, the first day I got it, started making this noise, and my brother said,
"Yeah, it's
not gonna make it." And then the guy swear, "Oh, it's gonna make it." He said, "But that's what they're supposed to tell you. They're gonna tell you, no." But when I brought it back. I said, "Listen, man, I gotta leave tomorrow. I can't take this."
Yeah.
And it was just something on the front just needed to be tightened straight. Never gave me a problem after.
Was it American made or
a Honda?
Oh.
So it's foreign.
Yeah, the Honda make a good drive. All right, let me go ahead and do this. And I'm required to warn you before you make any statement. You have the following constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent, not answer any questions. And as I did before, I just asked you, if you understand, just say yes.
Yes.
All right. Any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given.
Yes.
You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statement and during any question.
Yes.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, you are entitled to the presence and representation of a court-appointed lawyer before you make any statement during any questioning.
Yes.
If at any time during the interview you do not wish to answer any questions, you are privileged to remain silent.
Yes.
All right, and I can make no threats or promises to induce you to make a statement. This must be your own free will. And what's her name?
Trailing.
Any statement can be and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand the rights I've read?
Yes.
All right, you're cool with talking.
Yeah.
All right, basically the reason. Since last time we spoke, have you, Joseph, reached out to you in any way since he's been in jail?
No.
Okay. So, once we make an arrest, we don't just stop the investigation. So as we go on, and as I mentioned to you before, you've always denied knowing that Joseph was going to kill Jenkins, or
Right.
Jenkins' wife until he actually came into the garage with a mask on.
Right.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to push that issue with you right now, but do know that the state attorney's office prosecutor still can charge you as an accessory,
Yeah.
okay, or conspiracy to commit murder
Right.
on the surface. But I wanted to use you as a witness.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
You got to be truthful about everything. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about some stuff. I need you to be honest because don't hide anything. It's just going to hurt you.
Yeah, I don't have no reason to.
After after Makeva's murder,
Mm-hmm.
you had told me prior on a prior occasion that Joseph asked for whose number?
Yours.
Right, and you
Mhm.
gave it to him.
Yeah.
By what means did he ask you? Was it
Text message.
okay? And how did you send it? Did you tell him over the phone? Or did you text it to him?
I think I texted to him
Where were you when you did that?
at home,
Where's home?
West Palm Beach.
Are you sure you weren't with anyone?
No one.
Did
Because it was
you?
early in the morning. I remember I was half asleep.
How soon after the murder did he ask you? Murder was on the morning of the 29th at 2 a.m. 2:18 a.m. Was it?
I want to say it was the week of the funeral, so it might have been a few days after.
Okay.
Can't really remember, but it
And
wasn't that long.
Javon's number? Do you know it off the top of your head?
No, I got it on my phone.
Do you know Yuri's number off the top of your head?
Yes.
All right. So, with this, now, you've called me, not just from your number there.
And my mom's and her.
Your mom's number, which is what?
She has also she has a government phone, another number. When you had took my phone, I don't even remember that number, but it's in my phone also.
What do you mean it's in your phone?
Like her number.
Can you pull it up? You've used it to contact me? Did
Yeah, I
you use
believe.
it when we took your phone? How long did we have your phone? Remind me.
Maybe a day.
Good day. I got it back to you kind of quick.
Yeah.
But during that time frame, you were using that phone.
Right. I was using her 275 phone, but then right after, did you say my phone again? No, I was using this number too, because my phone was off a few times. Remember?
Yeah. Well, you said you had to use text free,
Right. And I used text free, and I also used this phone.
which is. You said 239.
293.
You said 239.
I didn't mean to.
So this number right here. The reason I'm asking is because
Yeah, that's my mom's number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's registered to your mom. So
Yeah.
you told me you volunteered that. You
Yeah.
you didn't hide that from me
No,
just now.
I
asked
didn't
you.
hide it. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up because on July 1st,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to clarify that this is you sending the messages to Javon
Javon.
or back and forth with Javon, and then you can explain what you mean by these texts. I need you to explain because. On the surface, it
Mhm.
makes really no sense. But people write things in hidden language, and sometimes, and I need you to be
Yeah,
straight
I
about
don't
what it means.
use
For
hidden
instance, when he sent you, how did he? Do you remember what he sent you when he? What,
Just early in the morning, he said,
what his words were as far as, and how'd you know he was talking about Yuri when he said send his number?
because I just remember what happened that night, and then he was just seemed like he was angry. And I don't really remember word for word, but I remember telling him, if you want the number, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, give me the number, and I gave him the number.
Did you realize you gave him the wrong number incorrectly?
Say that again?
Did you realize you gave him the number incorrectly?
No, I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
you did. So
I
with
don't know
that,
if I said the
yeah,
message.
did you do that intentionally?
No,
Okay.
I thought I texted the right way.
No, this is what you did. This is your mom's number. This is you texting it to Javon. And this is the number you sent him.
No. Oh yeah, I probably put 5 by accident. Now,
Did that come up later with Joseph?
no,
Did he ever confront you about sending him the fucking or that Yuri's not answering?
no, because I texted him off this phone, the number before.
Well,
This
when
was
did you?
now. See, when you said right after the murder, I'm thinking you
This
talking
is
about.
July 1st.
Yeah, you didn't say my mom's phone. I thought you were. I'll call you back later, bro.
Go ahead.
That's my brother.
Okay, that's fine. Just
But,
put it on vibrate or whatever.
I texted him off my phone. Maybe a week after this.
No, this is showing July 1st. Just so you know.
Yeah, but I didn't text him that off. But I'm saying I did have messages with him on his phone. Him really kind of asking for Yuri's phone number. My
Prior
phone
to this
number.
or after this?
After.
After.
Before that.
Before
It
that.
must
That
have
would have
been-
been like the 30th of June or 29th. The
It
murder
was-
was the 29th.
It could have been after, could have been before, but I didn't use my mom's phone until my phone went off, so it had to have been after. It had to be before that. Had to have been before that.
When just before you texted them number, he asked you for the number, and then you guys had a dialogue. You said, he said he can't. Where the hell is the other text? I'm sorry, there was another text I got to show you because you had a response to it. Give me a second. I had it. You gotta bear with me. Sorry. Yeah, I have it. I just got to print it out.
Right.
I'll leave the door open. So beginning on July 1st, what I'm getting at is Joseph's asking you for his number.
Yeah, and I kind of was hesitant to give it to him.
Okay.
You know, I maybe said, "Are you sure you want the number?" and stuff like that. Really, because I just didn't want to give it to him.
I'm trying to get the times here.
All right.
This thing printer's not working with me.
Was that early in the morning or the afternoon?
No, it was in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Basically, it says he's sending you a text saying send his number. All right. It takes you a little while before you actually send it, but you replied here. This is you. You know what's that mean?
On the phone with him now.
Right.
Right.
Is that with Yuri?
Yeah.
Okay. What were you discussing with Yuri regarding Joseph that
Basically,
you needed to clarify to Joseph that you were on the phone with Yuri?
But I basically was just telling, hey, he wants your number, this, that, and I was just,
Nope.
well, all right.
That.
Yeah. Well, because I don't remember what all we spoke about. I remember
That
saying,
had something to do with murder.
no, not really, because all I said was,
post-murder. Remember?
this is after.
Right.
So when I just told him, I said, listen, he's asking for your number. I have no problem giving it to him. I just don't really want that to do with this, blah, 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 blah. That was basically it. For the most part.
What did Yuri say?
He just told me, he was just like, okay, he didn't really tell me not to give him his number, and I don't remember word for word what he said, but I don't remember him telling me not to give it to him,
Okay. And what phone did you call him on when you spoke to Yuri?
Maybe the same phone, I don't remember.
Never. Never used this phone to call him.
So maybe my phone, or
so
maybe
you're using two phones at the same time.
I was texting off. Well, I probably called. I don't even remember.
There's
maybe
no crime
my
against
phone.
that.
I just don't remember. It could have been my phone. Could have been my mom's phone. One of the two. No, it was my mom's phone. It probably was most likely my mom's phone because he never wanted to talk to me on his phone.
And remind me what number that one is. Okay, that's Dale's mom. It's another number in her name because this one shows registered to her too.
Yeah, that's her real. That's her regular number.
Right.
That other phone that she's using that actually now because her phone is off. She's gonna only receive incoming calls.
Okay. All
but
right.
It probably was that phone because I remember him calling me several times on here, off her phone, and telling my mom. Now keep in mind he did call my mom a few times. She didn't answer. He texted her phone.
I remember you showing me over that, but I'm really only concerned about this day, 2 days after the murder.
All I remember is he called me a few times and told me, leave your phone in the room and walk off, stuff like that.
Remember Joseph's text? I can go print it out. I figure you're going to remember because you're going to know what you replied. But he says something about he needs his wheels. Why is he telling you to tell Yuri that he needs his wheels? Is he talking about something else other than wheels?
He's talking about car.
Yeah.
Like a car.
Well, I know that's usually what that means, but why would he telling you to tell Yuri he needs his car?
I don't know.
Because your response to that is he said he can't right now. They're not letting him touch nothing.
That's what I told him.
But touch what?
Money or whatever.
It was money, right?
No money. It was money.
Be straight.
It was money.
So go back. So when Joseph's sending that text.
Now keep in mind the whole time. For them to communicate, they're communicating through me.
Understood.
Obviously.
Kind of imagine.
And basically he was saying that he needs his wheels and he was pressuring me. You had phone
calls too.
He was kind of like pressing me, like he called me. Yeah, he was like, man, listen, man, I'm not playing, and I'm like, this man, they're not letting him touch nothing, listen, and I didn't.
When you meant they're not letting touch it, like, what did Yuri tell you that made you say that?
He never told me that. I just said that. I just said that because I just didn't really want to communicate with them about that.
Yuri hadn't mentioned anything about the
never mentioned nothing. Nothing.
This is after the murder.
This is after. This is after. He never called my phone about money. Yuri. I never asked. It was not my business.
Okay.
He kept pressuring me, so I used to just tell him, he said he can't touch nothing, this and that, just for him to say, hey, man. And I even when we were on, it was one night we were on, I had dropped Shay off on Tamarind Avenue. There's like a waterfront right there, off of Tamarind and Broadway, I guess. Right on the 25th Street, you make a left. Dixie, I don't know what road that is.
Okay.
And I told him this, and I took him right there. We were standing outside by the waterfront, and I was just saying, listen, man, I don't want nothing to do with this. You need to watch who you talk to, because, you know, people can go and they can go collect money because you telling them you saying you running your mouth, this and that. I don't want nothing to do with this. But he kept pressuring me. He kept pressuring me to tell you.
All right, but this is just 2 days after murder. Yeah,
right.
I know he's pressuring. But that's what that means when he says, I need my wheels?
Yeah.
How do you know that's what he meant? Did he
really
want a car?
That's the street name.
Did he really want a car, or was he talking about money?
He was talking about a car. Well, I said he can't touch nothing. Well, what he was trying to do was get Yuri to give him his car. That's what he was trying to do.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know that? How do you know?
Because he kept telling me that.
That's distracting you. How about
just turn it off?
Face down? Just face down is fine.
All right.
Oh, you don't.
That's females, man.
Okay. So going back to...
He really wanted Yuri's vehicle.
Did he say that to you?
Yeah, he told me that.
And when did he tell you this?
He told me that over the phone.
Okay, is this during the same day when you're
the same part of the same day? He was like, he can give up one of the cars or something like that, he said.
Why did he need a car? He had a car that worked just fine 2 days earlier. What was wrong with his car?
He just probably wanted to get rid of it. I don't know that, but I know he pressed him. He did say he said you need to tell him he need to come up with something right now. That's what he kept telling me.
And did you ever convey that to Yuri?
Nope.
Why wouldn't you tell Yuri?
Because I just didn't really want to be...
Yuri already brought you into it. It doesn't make sense that you wouldn't discuss it with him.
It was not my place. I don't think it was my place to do so. Even though he was pressuring me about it, I just didn't want to call Yuri. And I did try to reach out to Yuri a few times. He didn't answer.
Okay.
I kept trying, and I was trying to tell you, listen, man, you need to get this man what he wants, or whatever y'all do, and stop confronting me. Now, the reason why...
I'm going to interrupt you. If there was ever a conversation after her murder about money, and you just trying to convey this to Joseph and relaying, it's okay to tell me now.
No, it's no problem. I'm being honest with you. Yeah.
I don't want you to make shit up.
I did call him a few times, though. I did call him a few times, and he did not answer. Yuri. Yeah, he did not. And then he'll text me and say, oh, I'm out with my father. We're taking care of the funeral arrangements, stuff like that. And I'd be like, okay, well, just call me as soon as you can. You know, stuff like that. But he never did.
So this response, he said he can't right now because they're not letting him touch nothing. You just made that up.
I made that up. Yuri never told me that.
You realize it. I hope you're not trying to protect Yuri in any way.
No, that's not my place. That's definitely.
I know he told you on these phone calls. Oh, he wouldn't.
No,
he wouldn't.
I don't believe that.
Okay. If you went to jail, you do everything.
I don't believe that.
Power.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Do you remember what else you sent Joseph a text of? I do. I don't know why you sent it to him.
What is that?
This. Yuri's address.
Yeah, because he asked for it.
Why?
He didn't tell me. He just said, yes, he did. He got mad because he kept saying, I know they letting them touch something. I know this, I know that. And he kept saying, he was yelling at me. And I'm like, listen, man, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. You know, he kept saying, fuck it. What's the address to the place again? What's the address to the place? I texted him the address.
Okay. Do you know if Joseph ever went down there himself?
Don't know. Never went with him.
Yuri, I'm sure Yuri and you had conversations that you did record, because I know you sent me a few recordings.
Yeah, but before the recording, before that even came up, the recording process, yes, I did have conversations.
And what, if any, had to do with his relationship with Javon?
No. All I asked him was pretty much why everybody acting crazy towards me. What did he tell people? He said he never told anybody nothing. And I kept telling him that, listen, man, this man, he want his money and stuff like that. He's saying, man, tell him to get a job, you know, stuff like that. And that, you know, and I relayed the message back to Javon, and Javon was like, okay. And that's pretty much all he was saying.
Why was Javon looking for a gun?
He claimed, well, and I know the dude's name now, Ronald and Steve. I don't know their last name, my brother didn't tell me. But he kept looking for a gun because he felt like you needed it for his protection. He said he got into some shit, and I'm quoting, he got into some shit, and he needed some protection. That's what he said.
Did Joseph ever say to you, or if he did, how did Joseph express his displeasure with the fact that Yuri hasn't given him anything?
He just told me he was going to body him. That's what he told me.
Body means?
Kill him.
And he had his home address, but he had moved by then.
Right, but I told him do what you want to do. You know, and he kept telling my brother, my twin, that he couldn't trust me, this and that, he felt like I'm snitching. And he did tell my brother, he said, I'm the only one that that's gonna probably get away with this because I have nothing to do with it. That's what he told my twin. That's what he told my twin brother. He said I'm the only one that have nothing to worry about.
So on July 1st,
Mm-hmm.
as we discussed already, you're texting with Javon using your 293.
That's my mother's.
That's
Yes.
phone. But yet you say you are.
And I thought it was my
and you
phone
said
was
you're on the
off
phone
number.
with Yuri, but you're not on the phone with him this number because I did run that.
No,
So you must.
no, I was not on the phone with Yuri.
No, but you said you were.
Yeah, I did text him that, but I don't. You know what I'm trying to remember is because there were several times I told Javon I was on the phone with Yuri, but I really wasn't, and I did try to call Yuri.
Okay.
And but Yuri, I think that was the day. Was that a Saturday?
Yes.
That was a Saturday. Yuri called me and told me he was with his father doing funeral arrangements. And I told him, listen, man, Javon is mad. He want his stuff, and he keep pressuring me about it. And he kept saying that tell him to get a job. Tell him that, and he did tell me that they were not allowing him to get nothing. He said that him and Elder Simmons made a phone call to them and tried to get it for the funeral supposedly, and they were not able to get it. They had problems with it, and that they all put money together. I said, I don't care what you did. I said, all I want you to know is that this man wants his money, and he knows where I stay. He don't know nothing about you. He's asking for your address, your phone number. I gave him your phone number, this and that. And I basically said, listen, man, just get this man his stuff so I can get the hell out of this. And that's what and apparently he just kept saying, well, tell him I ain't got nothing, and tell him that I'm waiting for them to give it to me, and for these detectives to equip me, and I'm gonna sue them too, and this and that stuff.
All right, let's go back to the night of. I just want to clarify something because now maybe you may recall something. On the way to Yuri Jenkins' house, you guys are going down there. Javon is following you. We know that because your car is there and his car is ended up parked on
the right side of Lawrence. Yeah.
How did you really know that Javon was going to eventually park there?
Yuri called me.
All right, he called you from that 786 number?
Yes.
And he tells you, but how do you communicate with Joseph? How does he even know where you are at that point?
I don't know. But as soon as I got on Lawrence, he called me. As soon as I got on at the light, getting ready to make the left on Lawrence, he called me. And he said that, Javon is going to park his car down the street somewhere. I asked him why. He said, just do it, just do it. I said, okay, whatever. I called Javon. Javon pulled over to the right shoulder of Lawrence. And Javon said, I'm going to get in the car right now.
What number did you have with you?
With Javon?
When you were driving down there that night, did you have two phones?
No. I promise you I didn't. And no other phone. I had no other phone.
Because we're having a hard time mapping your phone down there.
That's the part I don't understand. I had my phone.
Okay.
I got even text messages. Matter of fact,
you ported that phone number. This is your original number that you've had since day one.
Since day one, yeah.
You ported that over, so everything your messages.
I ported it over. What do you mean?
Well, this is a new phone, right?
This is the same one. I just took the case off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just took the case off. The same one.
Do you still have your text messages with your mom?
I don't know. I probably deleted them.
Were they iCloud messages or were they SMS?
They could have. My phone does do iCloud backup.
Yeah.
So it could be on iCloud. We can
check. Do you know how?
Just go on iCloud.com, log in and check.
Do you know how?
Yeah, I got to go on a computer and do it.
No, we'll get my desktop after.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I just want to see. So you got a call from Yuri. He tells you this. All right. He gets into your car. Does he get in the back or the front?
The back, right side of the back.
Okay. What kind of gun does he have? Do you see it?
At first I didn't see it, and then I said, he told me, take me to Yuri's house. I said, what the hell going on? Why the hell you parking right here? All you got to do is go straight ahead. The last apartment complex on the right. You make a right. And he said, man, take me to Yuri's house right now. I said, I ain't doing shit. And then he pulled the gun out on me. I never saw a mask.
Okay.
But he pulled the gun out on me and said, take me to Yuri's house right now. I said, I'm going to take you to his house, and then I'm out. That's what I told him.
When you get to Yuri's house, you get out of the car, you tell me that Yuri and him have a conversation. What do you hear Yuri say anything like it's got to happen now?
1 second, that's my mother. Yes. Okay. It's not that important, I guess.
Okay, I need your help on this one. Did he just swipe to accept the call and then push to reject? Is that what he just did?
Anyways, I never heard that. I actually moved to the back of the car because I didn't want to hear it. I want the truth.
Well, Javon says he heard you, and just as his sign, I'm trying to figure out, maybe you can explain it. He said that he heard you and Yuri talking, and he heard Yuri saying, it's got to happen now, it's got to happen now. And he said he walked away.
Never. No.
How did he leave that development? Joseph.
He left with my car, with the rental car.
Okay.
He left with the rental car.
Nobody else?
Nobody else.
Did anyone else drive down with you?
No.
Where was Jeff this night?
Jeff was, I don't know. Gotta ask Jeff.
Did your mom ever go down to the scene after the murder?
No.
Did she respond down there?
My mother?
Yeah.
No.
While you were, after we interviewed her, while we were interviewing, or any time like
You
that?
interviewed my mom?
No, I'm asking you. When did your mom ever come to the scene?
No.
Did your brother ever come down?
No.
Okay.
No.
No one else in your family would have any of your other phone numbers that you mentioned, the 293 or the
That's my mom's phone.
or the 275.
She said that's my mom's phone.
Right. So no one else came down there and visited you or
No.
comforted you while you were
No.
down there at the scene?
It was just me and Jovan and Yuri. We were there. Nobody else came.
And Quay.
And Quay. Yeah, that night. See, that's a lie. What Jovan said. That's a lie. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say, and just for the record, you know, the state attorney should consider, if I do a crime with you, and you sit here and call my phone and say, you know I didn't do nothing, if you have something to do with this, and I'm your homeboy, then why are you talking like that? You know you got something. What do you mean? Why are you acting funny? Not once when I called Yuri or Jovan could they include me in that. Because they know I have nothing to do with that. Okay. Keep in mind, on the phone call, Yuri said, I know you have nothing to do with this. But if I did, why are you saying you ain't got nothing to do with this? You acting funny. What are you talking about? You ain't got nothing to do with it? If you have something to do with it. He couldn't do that because he knows deep down I don't. Which is why in the beginning of a recording, he said, oh. In other words,
Who's he?
Yuri, he basically, and
these are the recordings you did on your own.
Right. Oh, he says, why don't you just, if they arrest you, man, I'll get you a lawyer. I'll make sure I do everything in my power to get you.
Right.
Because he was saying stuff to y'all, but he knew that I had nothing to do with it.
What do you think thus far? Is Dametri convincing you that he didn't know about this plot? Let's take our one and only commercial break, and when we return, there is some more damning evidence that might sway your thoughts about his involvement. Oh, and consider hitting the like button. Be back in a second.
When you said to him on the phone that you have nothing, you have no worries because you had nothing to do with this shit.
Right.
Do you remember what his response was?
His response, he said, yeah, I know you ain't got nothing to do with it, or something like that, he said.
How about,
That was not for that. When I said, come on, Yuri, if you go back and listen, I want you to do that, okay?
No, you're all right.
Go back and listen. I said, come on, Yuri, I already know my homeboy did it. He said, it was for that. It wasn't for, oh, I ain't worried about nothing because I know you ain't. He said, yeah. Because when I said that, he said, yeah, I know you ain't got nothing. Go, make sure you listen to it again.
Oh, I did.
Because I don't want you to twist that
I'm
up.
not twisting shit. I'm just saying, either way, he's telling, when he's doing that, what is he telling you?
He's basically saying, yeah, I know you ain't got nothing to do with it, but don't say that over the phone.
Because your reply was, what, you got me
I said, no, he said, I said, wow, what you saying that for? He said, I said, oh, because we on the phone.
You said, are we on? You got me on speaker.
I said, no. I said, do you got me on speaker? He said, nah, it's not that. I said, what is it? Because we on the phone. He said, yeah, don't say that over the phone.
Why did he say that to you?
He probably just didn't want. He probably thought the phones were tapped or whatever. You guys can.
Don't you remember him telling you that over the phone?
Yeah.
That you thought the phones were tapped?
Yeah. But we were not on my phone. We were on my mom's phone. But I mean, he can tell, and that's where I'm having a hard time at. Is because, I get these recordings and I'm like,
you still have them, I'm guessing.
Right. Of course, I'm never going to delete them because just in case something happens, I gotta, protect myself.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I have nothing to do with this. Yet, nevertheless, when I call your phone, you can tell me, yeah, Dametri, I know you ain't got nothing to do with this, and I promise you, I never told the detectives or anybody anything about you. I would never play that game with you. But you can go ahead and you can sit in here and you can sit in your home or wherever you are with your family and tell them a lie about me and come and lie to the detectives. But face to face, I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you do a crime with somebody, they can't lie to you because you know everything. Or if you know the truth, they can't lie in your face. He couldn't lie on me on the phone. When I asked him, "Here, come on now, you know I have nothing to do with this," he couldn't say yes, you did, because he would be lying. So of course he's not going to say, "Oh, yeah, Dametri, you got," Because Jenny would give him up when he was telling on you. Because every time I asked him, you sure? You never told them. I have anything. I would never do that. That's what his response.
Well, what do you expect him to say? You think he's going to admit
But I'm just trying to show you.
Do you really think even if he did?
No, but if I have involvement, why you acting like that? What you mean you ain't got nothing to do with this? Because you do. That's what I would do.
Who do you know besides Joseph and yourself that Yuri had something to do with the murder of his wife? Who else is Yuri confided in that you believe?
I don't know. I know the answer to that. All I do know is
about his brother, the firefighter, the one that lives in gardens.
He could know. I doubt it. I highly doubt that they know the truth.
What about his friend Tony? Or do you know his good friend?
I don't even know his friends like that. To be honest, I've seen a few of them. I met them. I shook their hand, but have full conversations with them. There was never that. You know what? But there was some bald head dude, a big bald head dude.
Black or white?
He was black.
Okay.
And Yuri told me the night that he told me about it, he said, I asked my friend to do it. He said, I asked my friend, he said, I told my friend about it, and my friend said something about, he said something, I can't remember word for word, but in other words, he told some big bald head dude that he wanted to do it.
How do you know it was the big bald head dude?
Because he told me, he said, I don't remember the name, but he said, this dude, I'm trying to remember the name. And I said, no, which one? He said, the one that be always in the rental cars with the bald head, but I be putting the Beijing on his
what?
The Beijing is some black dye. It's a black dye when you get a haircut. And he put the Beijing on his beard. I said, yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know. I've seen him. He told him about it.
That's no idea of his name?
I don't know.
Not James, is it?
It could be. I'm trying to remember. If I remember, I definitely will call you. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem. Now, Jeff, I don't know if you know about Yuri, but he definitely knows about Jovan.
Does he work during the day?
He just got off at about an hour ago. I was supposed to go pick him up.
All right. Next time he's working in the next couple of days, I want you to just text me, say he's there.
All right.
The other thing,
I mean, if there's any information I can give you, I have no problem with that, because at the end of the day, I know, and I told you this from day one.
Where's the text messages where you said you screenshots you have your communication?
I didn't really screenshot them yet, but I'll screenshot them right now. I just want to show you.
Just open it up if you don't mind me
looking.
Yeah. Hopefully I can read it. It's kind of small. All right. How far back are you going?
It doesn't matter. All right, I said,
where do I need to look?
I was like, hey, Shay. She was like, yeah. I said, remember the day I dropped Nike off to Tamara and me and you and Jovan went to your house? Yeah, wow, what's up?
Okay.
All right.
Is there anything on here where she can,
She just said right here, yeah, wow, what's up? So she has knowledge that we were there. I just want that.
There's no other text messages that she says anything about
the situation. No, that was just what I'm doing, this and that, and I kind of got mad at her.
What was the conversation like when you guys were driving back with Shay in the car and Yuri?
It was pure quiet.
And Jovan.
Well, I mean, Jovan, she was sleeping. She was sleeping.
Okay.
In the passenger seat with the seat back, and Jovan was in the back seat.
After you're gone to visit Yuri.
Yeah, after we went to visit Yuri.
Just so you know, there's no evidence that you or Joe
That's what I don't
want to say. The 27th.
That's what I don't. It was not really the 20. It was the 28th because how I remember. But it was early. It was like 2 o'clock, like maybe 1, 2. I'm telling you, and that's the part I don't understand.
Neither of your phones show down there, and the phones don't lie.
That's what I don't understand. That's the
Shay was down there. She's the only one that can confirm that you guys went.
She was.
So you're down there in the early morning of the 20th.
Quake can confirm me.
No, he can't.
Why he can't?
He doesn't remember ever. He doesn't remember ever seeing Jovan before. The first time he saw Jovan, he said, was when he came and played basketball and got his haircut.
It's possible. Understand.
Is it possible that Quay didn't actually go face to face with Jovan that night?
Probably.
The first time.
Yeah.
Because you said he was in and out.
He was in and out, and Yuri kept telling him to go back in the house.
Generous.
This is Jeff. Yeah, Jeff.
Where y'all at?
We coming.
Right now?
Yeah, just give me like 10 minutes.
Oh, where y'all at?
Bro, I want you to catch the bus, but I'm coming.
What?
I said I don't want you to catch the bus, but I'm coming. All right.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. This is just something we do as black folks, man. This is black folks' time. My man said, I'm gonna be there in 10 minutes. take a good look at the time left in this video. Man, you ain't gonna be there in no damn 10 minutes.
Now, and I do have proof that I've never got money from Yuri. How I got my car, I can show you that too. You know,
Why did Javon never told you, or what was his reason for getting rid of his car?
He never told me.
It worked just fine.
He never told me, but I can tell you this.
He talked about buying it back. Why would he buy it back? Why did he get rid of it?
I don't know. He claimed he got the car, that Volvo, from a crackhead. That's what he said. I don't know. I never asked. I didn't even ask.
The $1,500, I did notice in his text, he's scamming credit cards for $1,500 a pop.
They never came through.
He's trying to.
He's trying.
With
It's never coming through.
What banks do you know he was trying to do it with?
TD, Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
He had some checkbook from PNC Bank. You know, I think.
What was the scam?
Scam was you write a check, deposit in the bank. Hopefully they release the funds before.
Write a check, but it was using a credit card. How was he getting?
Now, see, I don't know about that. All I know is he had a checkbook.
Okay.
I remember a checkbook. I seen him having a checkbook. And if you want the honest truth, I told him about that. I told him how you write a check, and you know, if you write a check, you put a certain amount. Sometimes they'll release $100 and give you the rest, and then they'll overdraft the account later. That's what I told him about.
You have any knowledge of what he was doing with credit cards?
No, I didn't even know he had credit cards. I knew he had debit cards.
Is it his or someone else?
Some other people.
What was the scam?
The scam was to write a check and put it in the bank and wait for the funds to come, but they never came. That's what I do know. I never knew Yuri gave him $1,500 until that recording. I never knew that. So I never knew that. And that's why I asked myself, oh, he had the money on him? He said, cash. I never knew that.
You know, the whole time he was here, he was saying that he knew you got the phone right there, and you guys had
Let's
stage.
be realistic.
Let's be realistic.
If I know you recorded me, why would I say certain things?
I know. It didn't make sense to me, but the thing is, you're kind of a slick talker. Maybe he's not too smart.
At the end of the day, he already told my brother he couldn't trust me.
Yeah.
And that same day he was there, he called. Kim called him, and Kim, as soon as he answered the phone, she says, "Oh, is that nigga Zine still acting funny?" He looked at me, I looked at him. It's just an awkward moment, because she was on speaker. That was not supposed to be said. So I knew he couldn't trust me, and I was kind of nervous being around him, but I couldn't just stop keeping communication with me because he knows the ins and out of my home. At the end of the day, but not once did Javon ever say to me, "Zane, you got something to do with this. You got money too. Why didn't you think, if I'm involved in something, I'm going to ask the question, hey, I need some will, and you need to get your money too." Or, I would have said something like that. And when he going to give you, because me being the best friend, I should have got something first, right? It makes sense. Me being your friend for 17, I should have got something first. He should ask the question, oh, when he going to give you your money? They never did that because he knows. They know this. They know I have nothing to do with that. Nothing. But I'm just saying, but that's just me though. I'm a different person. He's a different person. We all would probably do something different. But
why did you cover for these guys so long? It took me 5 interviews to finally get you.
Because I was going to say something in the very beginning, but I didn't, because at the end of the day, all odds were against me. At that home that day when you guys were there, it was everybody's family but mine.
Yeah, but if you would have been straight with us, don't you realize they would have probably been arrested within a day?
I know that, and a lot of people was mad at me. If you want the honest truth.
But you lied about so many things. You lied about
at the end of the day,
whole thing.
I told you couldn't protect me. You couldn't protect, and I even eventually came and told you the truth. That Quay never asked. He asked Quay for the haircut. And Quay
pushed the hell
Yeah.
out. Right?
But at the end
you know what it got you to tell the truth is once you realized my case
But
was
it's not even that. The whole thing was just like, I wanted to give you bits and pieces for you to find out yourself. But I just be honest with you, I didn't want nothing to do with this because at the end of the day, they both. Yuri don't know the ins and out of my home, but Jovan do. And at the end of the day, I just don't want nothing to do. I still really don't even want to be here. But at the end of the day, I have no other choice. I just want to get this out of my. I even went to North Carolina. They were talking about it in North Carolina. Asked me a whole bunch of questions. I say, let the law speak for me. That's all I can do. But at the end of the day, why it took so long, I don't know. Freeman said the same thing. Freeman was upset because Freeman was in the car when I was making some of these phone calls. Because I just needed a witness to say, hey, I ain't making this up. You hear these phone calls, hey, it is what, okay. At the end of the day, I don't want to, I was trying to cover for them. It's not that I was trying to cover for them. I just didn't want to say nothing.
You said you did.
I just didn't want to say nothing. So if that's covering,
you did cover for them, man.
I did lie.
It wasn't until August.
Well, once you see, at first you told me, you said, okay.
August 12th is when you finally laid it all out.
I don't even remember when the day was, but all I do remember is I got a phone call from Alex Freeman. You told me before the same thing. I tend not to believe certain things, but I had no other choice. And then I even told you before, I said, that's why everybody in the church is acting funny.
Oh, because I told you about Yuri.
I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand why everybody, now a week after, they were not acting like this.
Can I be straight with you?
Yeah.
I lied to you.
You lied about that?
Yeah. Yuri's never implicated you.
Never. Yeah. Freeman told me the same thing, though, so yeah. I believe it. But, you know,
my job is to get to the truth.
Yeah.
So, just letting you know.
That's all right, though. That's all right. I don't feel...
You still get testified?
Oh, yeah. Why not? Why not? At the end of the day, even though he might have not told you, he had to tell somebody. Because I'm a witness to somebody calling my phone, telling him, hey, Yuri said it was your friend or something like that, and he don't know what you guys got going on. I said, and as a matter of fact, 4th of July, I went to the house. I told you about this. Went to Auntie Nikki's house. He was there, and they started snapping on me. I'm like,
okay, go back to this phone call you're talking about. That someone was saying.
Sister Jones, she told me. She says,
Gloria.
You know, so she tells me. She says, oh, Auntie Nikki sent Damara, which is her daughter, which is Sister Jones' daughter.
Okay.
So Auntie Nikki told Damara to go tell your mom to cut Dametri off. Sister Jones said, why? What did he do? She said, the person y'all need to cut off is Yuri. Because at the end of the day, y'all not using common sense here. Mm-hmm. That's Yuri's wife.
Right.
Nobody can do nothing without Yuri. That's Yuri's wife. So what did he do? Even if Dametri got something to do with it, that's Yuri's wife. She said, but I'm talking to Dametri daily. I told Dametri, you need to do whatever the detectives tell you to do. Once you told me about, can I record? I said, well, once you said I should, if I want to, let me say it like that, because I did want to record. I mentioned it first to you. Say I might record them. She says,
well, no, what I did is after you finally told me about Javon a little bit, I asked you to record Javon.
Yes.
And we did that right out here, and then I gave you a recording device.
Right.
And
I took it even further to get more recordings. But she said, Dametri, I got faith in you. I know you're going to get whatever you need. Because I know, and that's why I baited you. I said, once you're 100% sure, you 100% evidence, file the charges. Because I know. I've always been a man about my charges. Any charges you see, I pled guilty or I went on juvenile probation. But even the last charge, I said I did not rob that guy. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
But anyways,
okay.
To make a long story short.
All right, but you said there was something right before you started about a phone call that someone was saying that you had something to do with it.
Yes, he told somebody, who was it? Let me see.
Yuri's telling somebody.
Yeah, going to tell people in the church. He said, oh yeah, she says,
who's she?
Pamela, I think her name is. I don't even remember the lady, but she goes to the house of prayer.
Okay.
From Miami. And she says, oh, well, he got us all believing that you got something to do with this. And that he said that that's your friend and that he never met the guy. And I said, he's very smart, though.
So, even though I lied to you, it looks like he was
doing it anyway.
He was still doing it.
But I told him, all darkness come to the light eventually. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, he's very intelligent, because if he uses somebody I bring over there, it could have even been Jeff. He would have definitely persuaded Jeff. It could have been anybody. If he uses somebody he don't know, he can say, I never met that guy. That's his friend. How can I have something to do? That's his friend. See, but what his plan went wrong was he didn't get the brother involved on his plan either, which would have been maybe a little more helpful. But nevertheless,
Do you really think he could have sold Quay on that?
I doubt it, but it would have been a little more better. Quay is very persuasive. I mean, Quay is not rap too trite. Yeah. You know, he's kind of, you know, but he probably possibly could. But that's where one of his errors went wrong. The second error.
Quay was gone when you guys got there.
But it didn't take that long for him to come back.
No. So is that why you were trying to say it was had to happen now? Had to happen now?
I don't know. I didn't hear that. But what I do know is, and then another plan, see, he didn't know that I was going to be able to get them recorded. When I talked to Jovan, he told me the truth. He said, your boy offered me $1,500. And then when I'm recording Yuri just a dumb fool. He just, and yeah, I shouldn't go to jail for this. You definitely shouldn't go to jail for this, and your friend shouldn't go to jail for this, even though he fucked up. I enjoy it because you trying to tell people.
After Jovan was arrested, which was shit. When was it?
Like a month ago.
Yeah. Did Yuri and you have a conversation?
Never. I had a conversation with him just recently in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And I told him, I asked him, I said, why the hell? I told him, I'm quoting, you know, I don't like to curse, but I did curse. I said, don't you ever in your mother effing life ever tell nobody in your right mind that I have anything to do with this. He says, I promise you I ain't do that. I promise you this and that. And he claimed he never told you guys nothing. As you can see, he was telling the truth.
What was that part?
But then he said, I never told other people. I say, so why everybody acting funny? He said, I don't know. I say, so me and you both know. You ain't tell your father the truth. I say, so what did you tell him? He said, I just told him I don't know. I don't know. And I said, you expect me to believe that?
But what did he tell you? Did he ever tell you while you were in Atlanta what he was telling people about Joseph? Like
in Atlanta? Savannah. I was in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. What did he say about, you know, meeting Joseph that day before the murder to anybody?
He never told me anything about that.
Okay. Do you know if he confided with Tiffany?
Who was Tiffany?
The baby mama.
Maybe. I don't even know that. I never knew that lady until that day, until the Facebook post.
Okay. Do you know if when you saw him in Savannah, is he dating anyone? Did he bring anyone with him?
He brought.
Who? Who's that?
His daughter, not from Kiva.
Oh. Okay.
I know that. He brought in Lil, but it's not Kiva's. That's his other's baby mom.
Like, yeah, she's like older, right? 6, 7.
She's young, but she's not. Yeah. But she brought her.
Okay.
And both of them gave me a big hug, and I enjoyed it. But at the end of the day, I told Yuri, I said, it's going to come out.
Yuri wasn't upset with you for everything. He had to know that you had something to do with this, with Jovan getting locked up. I mean, if he
don't know that. See, what Yuri thinks is, he already knew that. He said, because in the recording, if you listen, he said, the only reason why they messing with your friend is because he got a record. Jovan does not have a record. Right. So how do you know? Why do you say that, Yuri?
He said that's the only reason that we're looking at any of you guys, because you guys got records.
That's what he claimed. But Jovan does not have a record. Mm-hmm. Jovan does not have a record. He doesn't have a record.
How do you know?
Because I know. He told me months ago, way before this. He said he was in some program helping the DJJ system. He told me he never been arrested. Mm-hmm. And you know, and then he would just say, he just looked at me and said, "Man, my kids." I said, "That's your problem."
All right, so we've confirmed that that number that I saw texting Jovan on July 1st was you actually texting him, and you were probably communicating with Yuri on the other phone, the
275, yeah.
Okay.
But I do remember talking to him.
Because I had your phone.
That's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
That was the week you had my phone? Was that the week?
I'm pretty sure we took your phone. Well, I can look at my notes.
But you gave it back on Sunday or Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah, I drove up to Jupiter and gave it back.
Which day was that? Sunday. I don't even remember, but I did talk to him that Saturday because I remember July 1st was on a Saturday. If I'm correct? That's why I asked this was a Saturday.
So at no time do you have any knowledge of Jovan and Yuri meeting or talking?
Never. That's never.
So how is Jovan ever going to get his money?
I don't know. That's something I can't answer because I don't know. I never even knew he had $1,500.
But he was promised $20,000, right?
That's what he told you. That's what he told me. Yeah. That's what he told me. And then I remember in the very beginning we had a conversation. You said, "But isn't it odd that in most cases, people get money up front. And I said, yeah, in most cases. But I didn't know never knew he got $1,500. I don't even know how he really got the Volvo. He sold drugs to a crackhead and they gave it to him, but that's what he said. I don't believe something like that. But
No, did he ever mention to you what he did with the gun?
no.
Any thoughts where the gun?
I asked him. I was going to try to get it because Freeman told me that would be a great help.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, for his protection, he's not going to tell me. But he had to do something with the gun because he went to some dude named Ronald and Steve house. They say he used to just pop up. He was acting funny.
Where's their trap house? He has a trap house, doesn't he? Because he sold weed. He sold drugs.
Yeah, but I don't know that. I just know they be all on his street.
53rd Street.
Right.
But he has a trap house. Is it?
I don't know. I don't hang around trap houses. That's just not me.
Right.
I don't do that. I don't even smoke. I used to, but from time to time, if I get stressed out, I might. But I'm not a smoker. It's not my thing.
Is there anything else on your phone you need me to see?
Gigi.
Who's Gigi?
The number you asked me about.
Oh. Yeah. Let's go to my desk because you said you're going to put a mic on. You want to text Jeff or call Jeff and just say, listen, I'll get there.
You can wait. You know I'm coming.
Since we're done here, you swear everything? Come on, because we're on tape. You swear everything you told me is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, it appears Dametri might just get away with this, but he doesn't know that the wheels of justice, they turn slowly. And a couple years later, Dametri finds himself back in an interrogation room.
Yeah,
what do you want to drink? What kind of soda?
It don't matter.
All right. Any chips or anything?
No, I'm all right.
Anything?
No.
Nothing, I appreciate it.
All right.
So listen, I work in homicide. I've been in homicide 13 years.
Okay.
They told me you were going to be coming in today.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me the call and said, ask could I come and be there to meet you when you get here.
Okay.
I said, sure, because I'll be working tonight anyway.
Okay.
You probably know a lot. You probably know a lot more about what's going on than I do.
Okay.
As far as what's going on, but right now, I'm sure you understand that you are under arrest.
I do understand that.
You understand you are under arrest. So what I want to do is let you know that I'm a straight up guy.
Okay.
I don't play any games.
Right.
I'm not into deception. I'm not into any of that shit you see on TV. That's not me. I'm straight up.
All right.
You know, with me, everything is about perspective and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know a little bit about, probably a lot more about this than I do.
Of course.
I'm going to explain to you everything that was told to me today.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you may have some questions or concerns
I do.
about anything, okay?
I do.
But before we get into anything, like I said, I'm a straight up guy. I'm fair.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in doing things the right way. I want to make sure you have a full understanding of the process and everything that's going on.
All right.
Okay? I'm required to warn you before you make any statement that you have the following constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand?
I do.
Any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given. Do you understand?
I do.
You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statement or during any questioning. Do you understand?
I do.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, you are entitled to the presence and representation of a court-appointed lawyer before you make any statement or during any questioning. Do you understand?
I do.
If at any time during the interview you do not wish to answer any questions, you are privileged to remain silent. Do you understand?
I do.
I can make no threats or promises to induce you to make a statement that must be of your own free will. Do you understand?
I do.
Any statement you make can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand everything that I've read to you?
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
I do understand everything, sir.
Mr. Dale, here's my question for you, sir. What is baffling to you right now as far as everything that's going on?
I'm completely shocked that they charged. You know, you take a desperate man. You know, I'm gonna just give you this scenario. You put two friends and you put them in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, sir.
And you put them there and they're drowning with their sharks. There's no rescue, no coast guard, no boat.
I'm with you.
One of those two friends will become desperate enough that they'll drown the other one for another second of breath because they're in that desperate situation. So they don't think properly. They gave 2 years. They gave a man 2 years to think about anything he can possibly say. I don't think they listened to any other recordings that was made on the phone. He threatened me several times. They never hit him with tampering with a witness. Nothing.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Dale. How well do you know Yuri Jenkins?
That's my best. I knew him since I was 2 years old.
Are you from Belgrade?
I'm not from Belgrade.
Okay. You have any family in Belgrade?
I have no family in Belgrade.
So you grew up with Mr. Jenkins over here?
In West Palm Beach through church. His dad was my pastor for 17 years.
Okay, so you guys have known each other
all my life, pretty much.
All your life? And
yeah.
Did Mr. Jenkins have a relationship with Mr. Joseph?
No, apparently not.
Okay, what about Mr. Joseph? What's your relationship with Mr. Joseph?
I've known him 5 years, about over 5 years now, but my brother knew him longer.
Okay. I guess the understanding, I guess the confusion on your part, because, I mean, like I said, you know everything. It's already out in the open. I guess Mr. Jenkins was very discontent about his marriage with his wife.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And it was your understanding, from what I know about the case, that he essentially wanted to kill her.
Well, he didn't necessarily say that. He just said that he had thoughts, but that was not the first time, like I said, he ever said that. The bottom of the line is this, man. I'm not going to even see him be a long conversation with you.
I understand.
Because it ain't worth it at this point.
Well, let me ask you this, though. I guess the biggest issue is, Mr. Dale, is this. I guess Mr. Joseph has provided a statement to the Palm Beach County State's Attorney's Office.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm well aware of that.
And Mr. Joseph explained, pretty much laid everything out to everybody.
Okay.
And he implicated you in the conspiracy.
Okay, that's fine. That's not shocking to me. I told Oliver he would do something of that nature. I didn't think he would implicate me, but I knew he was getting desperate.
Is that who he is as a person?
He's like a con artist.
Mr. Joseph.
Yeah, he's like a con artist. But
man, I'm not gonna lie. I find that to be fascinating. This is a classic case of projection. Who's the real con artist in this? Is he trying to say this guy's the con artist? Does he sound like he has the gift of gab? Does he seem like he has the ability to sway others and to manipulate people?
I know Yuri, and I just know people, man. People is people. People become desperate.
I agree with you on that.
You know what I'm saying? I was never desperate.
I tell people the same thing, and one thing in life you can be assured of: death. Two things in life you can be assured of: death, and people gonna be people.
People gonna be people, man.
People gonna be people.
Bottom line is, man, it hurt me to my heart, because it's like, man, you do all that you do for people, and in the end they still do you wrong.
Is anything that Mr. Joseph, any of the information he provided to the state, is there any validity to any of that?
I have never heard what he said. I don't know what he said. All I know is he had to implicate me because I'm here. But I'm not shocked. I'm gonna tell you why I knew they was coming to arrest me, simply because of these three things. When I came up here for the trial, they never called me and told me that they didn't need me anymore. I called them twice or three times, and they kept telling me they couldn't talk to me. Then it says, and or anyone charged in connection to he agrees to testify against Yuri Jenkins and or anyone charged in connection to the murder. And then I said, okay, well, if they can I go home, or am I going to be used as a witness? And it's like, but from day one, they treated me like as if I was a criminal, even after all the information that I provided. Detective Oliver asked me to record Yuri, and then told me to go in court and lie. And then it's like, then you put me in a situation, because when me and the Detective Oliver was outside, he gave me this device with an earplug to call Jovan. That was the first day that Jovan stopped talking to me and telling me he killed Makeva.
Did you know Jovan had killed Makeva?
He told me a few times prior to it. But then after that recording, that it was very, very brief, maybe 30 seconds of a recording. Detective Oliver was outside with me while I had the recorder thing and the earplug, and I'm on the phone. He asked me, why the hell would I say that on the phone? From that day, he had thought he was being recorded every single time we talked over the phone, or if it was in person. He had thought that every single day, and he stopped telling me that.
That night the incident happened, did you know it was Jovan that did it?
Man, listen, bro. I've said this a million times.
I mean, I don't like I said, I don't know.
I don't even want to go back into the details simply because of this. I gave, and I'm not gonna say you, but I gave these people everything I possibly.
Well, let me ask you this: did you introduce Jovan to you?
I did not.
Do you know who introduced Jovan to you?
You mean introduced him as for what? As in what term?
Just as far as their
just like you introduced me to yourself.
As far as their as far as were you and Jovan chilling one day and you ended up at Yuri's house and he was with you?
Listen. Y'all know exactly what I've told y'all, and I'm not gonna repeat it.
I don't know nothing.
Here's the bottom line. I was at Yuri's house. I was supposed to take Jovan to Walmart.
Correct.
I told him to stay in the car, him and Shay, to stay in the car.
Who is Shay?
Shay is a female that was with us that night.
Okay.
I told him to stay in the car. When we got to the house, he saw a Masonic shirt that Yuri wore. He wore it all the time. Psalms 133 with the Masonic emblem. It was his decision as a grown man to get out of that car and to speak masonry about him. Any other conversation that transpired with them, I have no knowledge of. I know what we talked about, Freemasonry. And I'm not going to go all night and all day.
But I understand what you're saying, but that's why I'm telling you this. So I'm assuming that what you're talking about was perhaps a day or so before Miss Jenkins was killed.
I think on the 28th or something like that.
On the 28th. It was the 28th. You were taking him to Walmart. He was in the car with you. You said he got out of the car. There's nothing to do with you. Jovan is saying that you picked him up and you purposely drove him down to Hyphaluxo to meet Yuri.
Well, if that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Why would you think they would believe him more than you?
Jovan is desperate. I don't know. I said the same thing. Maybe because, but technically we all lie. Even the lead detective, Oliver, lied. He's a liar. And I have recorders on him. So I hope he sees this interview. I have recorders of him telling me to record Yuri. I have recorders of him telling me when you go into court, it may come up if I ever ask you to record Yuri, you ought to deny it. So this same interview that we have in here, I want this interview because I'm going to need this interview. He's a liar. Detective Oliver is a liar. He put me in harm's way. I was in vulnerable situations after helping him in his investigation, and he cared not.
When you say vulnerable, you mean?
When I went out there that first time I did that recording with Jovan, he put me in harm's way because Jovan was hot and asked me, why would you say that over the phone? Which is the day he stopped telling me he killed Kiva. And then he left me out there in the world with Jovan out there and could have done anything. Not only that, told me to do recordings on Jovan and Yuri and then bring me in the interrogation room a day or two later with Jovan over there in the other room. What kind of shit is that? And it's like, man, I'm hurt. I'm really hurt, man, but I'm ready for the fight, man. It's not easy. It's not gonna be easy.
I hear you.
It ain't gonna be easy.
Like I said, I don't know much about anything. That's why I say I was here for a perspective. They called me because they know I'm a straight up guy and they know I've been doing this for a long time, probably longer than anybody in the county. So that's why they called me. I only know bits and pieces about what's going on, but I know that Jovan provided a statement. I know in his statement he implicated himself, Yuri, and you as far as the guys who were all engaged in this conspiracy.
I'm not concerned about that. I didn't conspire to commit any crime with them. I'm not concerned about that, and I proved that once, and I can prove it again. I'm not concerned about that without a shadow of doubt in my mind. I'm just ready for the fight. I wrap my mind around it.
I understand that.
And like I said, he's desperate.
Jovan is desperate.
He'll say anything. Yuri would too, but Yuri he's paying his lawyer $100,000.
What's Jovan's fascination with Freemasonry?
He was always interested. I have multiple friends that's interested. It's a fraternity. You ask questions, if you're interested. I believe he wanted to get involved for the materialistic things, but that's not why I got involved. That's why I don't use masonry as an outlet. Anytime I've ever been in a situation, nobody ever heard me say anything about masonry, because that's not why I got into it. Masonry it was designed to make men better. So when I get in trouble, when I have an infraction, a traffic infraction, why would I use that as an outlet when that's not what it's all about? I'm not going to do that. It's been 2.5 years, man. I've given these people my life.
Jovan only went to Yuri's house once with you?
Man, listen, y'all know all that. I'm not going to...
No, I'm asking you because I'm trying to see if he's telling the truth. That's what you got to understand.
Listen, they charged me.
Listen, there's a different detective here, bro. That should mean something to you.
Understand this, man.
I don't have nothing to do with the case. Wasn't even working.
They charged me. Whoever did it, I don't know. Somebody charged me. Right?
Yes,
Which
sir.
means to me that whatever he said, y'all thought it was credible enough or good enough to file the charges against me. And for that, I feel betrayed.
I'm asking because I'm trying to find, because you got to,
it doesn't make a difference.
Well, it does make a difference because if he's lying and providing inconsistencies, that's information that's important and that has to come out.
Oh, I'm ready for the fight, man. And Detective Oliver, the liar also. See, how you call me a liar, but you a liar? Oh, I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been ready because every time I walked into this room, I was treated like I was a criminal. Even after I giving you recordings, he asked the question. This is the question he asked. He said, "Well, if Jovan was telling you all along he was the shooter, why would you not tell him that he was the shooter in the recording, or why would he not say it then?" Well, really, it was Oliver's fault. Because had Oliver not did 1,000 damn recordings that was worthless, he would have not felt as if I was acting different to do that. And then you want me to put myself in harm's way. After you put me in a room right here, after you made me do 1,000 recordings, you would rather me, hey man, you know you killed her. Why would I do some shit like that? Why would I put myself in harm's way? So I started to watch and listen to my instinct, and I saw that Oliver wasn't being real. Because had he would have done everything he did, everything he needed to protect me, and he didn't do that.
Good point.
He didn't do that. And then you went to the extent of trying to fabricate, trying to get me to go in court and lie. I'm so glad, man. I'm so glad it never came up in court. Had I ever told Yuri, or have I ever told Yuri I was recording him, or did Oliver ever tell me to record you? I'm so glad it never came up. Because had it, I'd have been in there and I'd have said no. Because off the strength that I felt as if I didn't do anything Oliver told me, they would do exactly what they did today, or on the 20th of February, and charge me with first-degree murder. That's why every command he made, I obeyed. And off the strength of that, I did everything he told me to do, bro. And he still did me wrong. He still charged me. He believed someone who was desperate. It took him 2 years. 2 years.
Is there, Mr. Dale, is there any truth to Javon's statement that you were introduced to Yuri? He was introduced to Yuri by you for the purposes of killing
That is not the
Makeva
truth.
Jenkins.
That
Is
is
there
not the truth.
any truth to
That is
that
not
at all?
I did not.
Any truth whatsoever?
I did not.
So you were there on the 28th. Yuri's your friend. You went to speak to him.
I'm not going to answer that question because y'all know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
But they have multiple recordings.
I don't know. I don't want to hear that. You say the recordings. You say the recordings are trash. I don't want to go.
I'm not. No. Hold on. I told you. I didn't tell you all the recordings were trash. All the recordings I did are not trash.
Oh, because I'm confused. You gotta understand.
There was multiple recordings. There were multiple. Some of them was worthless because there was no implication there. He didn't implicate me as a free man. He was free.
You talking about Javon?
Jovan and Yuri were free.
Okay.
And had Oliver not told me to record Jovan as many times, he would have got the same implication that Yuri gave. If he had not told me, he told me to record Yuri, and he got a recording of Yuri when he said that he showed it to a few people and that it was coerced. It was a planned recording, right? Mm-hmm. But it was multiple times he told me to record Yuri on the PlayStation. I remember that like it was yesterday. And then tells me, oh, have him come talk to me without his lawyer, right? Have all these on recording. So it's coming for him. And if he decides that he want to take the stand and lie, man, I'm going to make sure that they hit him with perjury.
Where are these recordings at right
I'm not telling nobody nothing. I just want him to be ready. And if it is illegal to record a detective in the course of his investigation, which is what Oliver told me, let him charge me. Because I'm going to hold him to every word he said and try to get me to go in court and lie. I'm going to hold him to everything. I'm going to hold him to everything. And I promise you I will. I ain't going to stop because I'm not going to allow nobody to let me fall victim to this system, man. I'm not going to do it.
I understand what you're saying, but, I mean...
My point is, man, I'm
not talking about Sean Oliver.
But my point is, I have nothing else to really say to you because I feel betrayed. And anything I say now can be used against me, right? Here's the bottom line. I never told Yuri to have his wife killed. I never helped him have his wife killed. I never told Jovan to go kill anybody. I never even brought him over there for that purpose. If anything, I told him to stay in the car. They are grown men. They are grown men. And at the end of the day, bro, as a free man, what did he say when he was free? When he was not locked in jail? What did he say when he was free? Of course he had ideas that he may be recording, but I never told Jovan I was recording him. He had thoughts because Oliver helped him get those thoughts. When you do acting different, when you doing recording, saying shit out of your mouth just so openly like that, and then he said, well, why are you saying that on the phone? That gives people the sign that you might be recording them or something's going on with you. Why are you acting this way? Kimberly didn't even say, is that nigga Zine still, excuse my language, that nigga Zine still acting funny? And we locked eyes with each other just like me and you locking eyes. And I guess I was not even supposed to hear that. My point is, as a free, even Yuri said, he said, man, I know you ain't do nothing. Please take the charge. He said, because you can't go to jail. You know, he said, no, you shouldn't go to jail for this. I can't go to jail for this. And your friend shouldn't go to jail for this, even though he fucked up. Why didn't they implicate me when they were free? When everybody's free? Oh, because you're in a desperate situation. You're in that ocean. It's just me and you in the ocean. You were that desperate that you would kill me too.
I'm very curious. If you watched all 3 episodes, who do you think was the brains of this operation? This guy, or was it Dametri? The question probably is, what did he stand to gain? Jovan claimed Yuri was going to use some of that life insurance money to invest in Dametri's rap career. Now, Dametri would not become a rapper, obviously, but would ultimately take a plea deal and get a lesser charge of manslaughter. He would only get 15 years of supervised probation, but even that wouldn't last very long. I mean, after all, Yuri did say that this guy is the one who set up a robbery of one of his youth pastors at his church, allegedly. But there is one thing that isn't alleged. Dametri is locked up in North Carolina right now for having adult interaction with a 13-year-old girl a few years back. Looks like there is no age limit to his attempt at charm or influence. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, and thank you again for giving me your time checking out another episode of They Caught Me. Till next time.